there's no other way to spin this. I don't know what's going to happen in 2024, but this idea, and I see it on social media, oh my gosh, 2 years, $4 million. It's unbelievable. Oh, this Matsui deal. It's terrific. Let's start here. They traded Juan Soto. Blake Snell and Josh Hader aren't going to be back. So, like, the offseason at best is not been good. Now, it doesn't mean they're not going to be a good team in 2024. There's still serious work to do with this roster. I mean, serious work to do. But I don't see how you can spin this offseason. Yeah, they got Yuki Matsui and Woo Suk Go, and all of a sudden they've like canceled out their losses. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. A lot of the message yesterday was, okay, can we just like pump the brakes a little bit on the amount of praise that I've seen for this offseason, what AJ Preller has done? The team is not a better team right now. The amount of holes still left in this roster, they got 5 remaining roster spots to fill. And they need a left fielder, a center fielder, a lefty bat, a left-handed pitcher, all before the start of spring training, or at least the start of the first game of the year, which have everything by the start of spring training. You can sign guys, during spring training that's happened before, and they've actually turned out to be pretty good signings. So you have time. But it's not like let's just pick up this pitcher to be like our third or fourth starter, Michael Wacha, and he has a great year. Like, you need a lot still remaining with this team. So do I like the moves that have been made so far? Yes, I do. I like how they got rid of Matt Carpenter. I like how they got some bullpen help for pretty low cost, budget. I don't like the Juan Soto trade. I still don't. But I'm not going to sit here and say that this offseason has been great, because I don't feel like it has been. I feel like it's been almost like a necessary evil offseason.
100%. I completely agree with that. And then I think you compound it with what the Dodgers have done. Not that it's not the end all be all. I mean, you can't only worry about the Dodgers. And the truth is, the Dodgers have failed to perform in consecutive postseasons, including against the Padres a couple years ago. And we have no idea what the Padres are going to do this year, just like we have no idea what the Dodgers are going to do this year. But it's like, the truth is, you traded Juan Soto for needs, which is fine, and you address some of them, hopefully. You're going to lose Blake Snell and Josh Hader. It's not official, but it's official. And we don't know anything about Yuki Matsui or Woo Suk Go. We just don't. And players that come over from the KBO, guy might be great. Might be a great signing, and it's low risk, high reward. I understand that. But, I mean, there could be an adjustment. It's AA baseball, Korea. And Yuki Matsui, even in Japan. Again, nice numbers, but he's got to prove it in the major leagues. I just feel like there's tons of question marks, way more than heading into 2023. The question marks in 2024 do not compare to the question marks heading into 2023. Now, can they be overcome? Yeah. I mean, maybe they have more of a cohesive roster than they had a year ago. They need to, and they disappointed in only 182 games. But, is this going to be the biggest move of the offseason? Is the biggest spend Yuki Matsui? And if so, I mean, how can you look at this as some compelling offseason where they've gotten better?
It was funny because on Tuesday, I mentioned, okay, guys, I know a couple weeks ago we had a conversation about the panic of no moves being made this offseason. There's still time, right? And as I, sat here on Tuesday after also reading the Dennis Lin article, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm actually getting a little more anxious. Like, they haven't announced the coaching staff. They haven't done this. Now, thankfully, they did that the very next day, and they made a move the very next day. But you're going to need to start ramping this up. And it's not really just their own doing. It's all baseball. Like, there's still a lot of free agents out there that have not signed contracts yet. Big time free agents that are still out there. But if you're the Padres, all you have to do is worry about yourself, and you have a lot to worry about here. You just do. So I am nervous. Do I think this roster can be good enough to make it into the postseason next year? Yeah, I'm not 100% there yet, but I still think that if you have the guys on the roster perform to their level, like with a couple more moves that are made, like, yeah, they can get there. But it's just maybe like pump the brakes a little bit on how great this offseason's been from other people's perspective.
And I absolutely agree, and I'm not saying that they're destined for some 68-win season. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're destined for an 88-win season. It's hard to imagine they're contending for a division, but that's not really here nor there on January 4th. But to me, it just feels like a little bit of like a PR spin is going on. Like, oh, look at their coaching staff.
Mhm.
They promoted from within. Great. Oh, look, they don't have a bench coach. Isn't that great? And look, they're really scouting the Pacific Rim. Isn't that cool? The reason they're doing all of this is, to your point, it's necessary evil. The reason they're finding guys on 2-year, $4 million deals
They have
is
to.
they don't have two for 15.
Yeah.
And you look at these deals, Harrison Bader today at the New York Mets for 10.5, and you wonder why the Padres weren't in on him because they're signing guys out of Korea for $4 million. So they don't have 10.5 for Harrison Bader. It's just a fact of the matter that they've got themselves into this mess, and they must definitively win in 2024. It's AJ's mess. It's the organization's mess. You either win or someone else is going to deal with the mess on the other side.
Mhm.
No way next offseason are they going back to Korea and signing guys out of the KBO after winning 79 games and trying to find more diamonds in the rough with AJ Preller. There's no world where that's going to be acceptable, right? To Padres fans.
No, none. There won't be, especially coming off of what happened last year.
Right.
So it's an anxious time for sure because there's still time left, but Harrison Bader, a name that we talked about, potentially being a guy that could fill a spot on this team. He signed today, I think, with the Mets.
$10.5 million.
$10.5 million. You're not signing a guy to $10.5 million a year.
Mhm.
You're not. So now I'm thinking, okay, is Jose Zocar really going to be this team's starting center fielder potentially?
I don't think so.
Is Jackson Merrill really going to be put in the outfield? According to Dennis Lin, he puts him as an outfielder right now. Like, are we really going down that
He puts him as
path?
an outfielder on the big league roster right now?
He does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we may be going down that path. We absolutely may be going down that path. We said this the second we knew their payroll was going down $50 million, and you heard AJ Preller start talking about, hey, he's going to vie for the center field job. They're going to have some young parts, even from day one, even if it's rushing players. They just are, even if it's rushing players. They're just going to have some young pieces because I don't see how you put the full roster together without doing that. What do they have, like 20 million right now to stay under the CBT?
20 to 25.
And they have one outfielder. So you're either making some really, really impressive trades to maybe free up some money. Maybe you're moving Ha-Seong Kim, right, at top dollar potentially coming off a career year. But you still have a lot to do. I mean, imagine what would they have done if they didn't trade Juan Soto? And you and I both didn't want them to trade Juan Soto, but what would they have done? Started 9 rookies if they kept Juan Soto? Even with the trade of Juan Soto, they're going to have like a handful of rookies on the roster. Some of these guys that came over in the Yankees deal, some of the players that are going to be probably bench depth, they're going to have, I mean, there's going to be 4 or 5 rookies on this roster. That's my guess.
Yeah, there will be. And it's not because they want to do it. It's because they have to do it. Just everybody remember that out there. A lot of these moves that they're going to be making coming up for the big league roster with a couple of rookies on it, it's not because they want to do it. It's because they have to do it. They don't have a choice. They can't go out there and sign an outfielder, a major league outfielder. They're going to have to promote from within. Do I think they want to do it at right now, the start of 2024? Probably not. Like, do I really think AJ Preller sitting there super excited about the possibility of Jackson Merrill being their starting left fielder this year?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I would be shocked if he's excited about that. But that's where they are. They're in like we have to do it mode for a lot of these players, and that's just what it is. That's just what's going to happen, unfortunately. But it doesn't mean they still can't be like a playoff team this year.
You're right. I mean, that's the thing with baseball. We can't guarantee anything heading into the season. I just know that all of a sudden you're going to get into the thick of it. And I'm not talking about 2 games in Korea or even, your opening series against the San Francisco Giants. But this is what I would say about the Padres heading into 2024 without knowing the entirety of the roster. But we know the entirety of the roster. You see, they're not signing Cody Bellinger. They're not signing Blake Snell. So you kind of know where they're going here. And maybe there's some young pieces that pay dividends as the season gets going. But here's what I know. On paper, they're not outclassing people, right? To start 2024. Yes, they have nice sparks. Don't get me wrong. Tatis, Machado, there's no question about it. Musgrove, Darvish, they have good parts. But wouldn't you agree that if you looked at the 30 rosters in baseball, we don't know the complete Padres roster. I don't think that they're going to outclass people with talent and roster day in and day out. I think they have nice pieces, but they got guys coming off down years. Machado's coming off a down year and injury. Musgrove was hurt. Darvish was hurt. I just feel like a lot of guys have something to prove, and they're going to have to like outplay people on field, and they're not just going to win by sheerly having a better roster than everyone they're playing.
Well, I mean, Mike McCoy's going to really help out with that a lot.
Maybe Patrick O'Sullivan and all these new coaches and not having a bench coach and Mike Schilt maybe he's better than Bob Melvin.
Are you okay with not having a bench coach?
I don't think it matters because I don't think it mattered what they've done. That they've it's been a carousel of moves with the coaching staff under AJ Preller, and none of it has added up to anything.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters.
Some of these guys probably won't even be here next year with the track record
correct
that this team has. Having a bench coach doesn't matter. It's whatever. It's nice that they actually have a coaching staff in place.
Right. It wasn't just going to be Mike Schilt doing everything.
At one point, I kind of thought
loading
it was
up the bags on the bus.
Mike Schilt and Ruben Niebla, man. That's it. That's all they got.
Yeah. And if Mike Schilt got ejected, then Ruben Niebla, like, you can't say anything. You're the only other coach in this roster.
Right.
He's going to be hitting them grounders before the game. And
did they say about who was
Little League?
Who would act as like the bench coach?
It did, but I forget who exactly that was going to be. But it's one of those things where it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't.
I'm not going to lose sleep over that. And we knew they'd announce a coaching staff. We know they're going to complete this roster. But what I'm saying is we're like heading down this road toward spring training. I know what this roster is going to look like. They might make a trade. We might get excited about it. They may not. They might sign some players off the scrap heap. They might dumpster dive. They might turn to the KBO again. I mean, we kind of have a feel for what's going on here. I'm not waiting for Bellinger. You know what I mean?
I said that AJ Preller is. Have you ever watched that show Storage Wars?
No.
Okay. Never mind.
Is it like that? No. There is a show I've watched where they like. I forget what it's called. They like go into people's homes who have like all this crap and they like buy it.
That's American Pickers. Or whatever,
American Pickers. That's a good show.
Storage Wars is where you have to go. You buy a storage unit, right? And you try to find like a diamond in the rough. Type of thing. And you're like, I'll buy this storage unit for like $500.
Yeah, I like that.
And you try to get your money back. You try to find something like, I just found this lamp that could make me $700. Like that's what Preller is going to have to do is find those diamonds in the rough, right? For the 1 year deals for low money, and then hopefully the investment that he gets back on that is greater than what he paid to get that player.